Okay, carry on, Tendani.
Good evening, lady and gents.
Two ladies.
My name is
and
Tendani
gentlemen.
Mnonoka. An entrepreneur based in Limpopo, Matumbicha village. And yeah, I am a friend of Community. Yeah, that's it for now.
Thank you, Tendani. I just welcome somebody now and I don't see the person who I welcomed. But anyway, maybe they withdrew. Okay. Thanks, Tendani.
All right, good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Lesego and Tendani. I think I didn't greet you formally, colleagues. My name is Maynard Maisela. Well, I'm popularly known as one of your hosts or your co-hosts for your Tuesday digital online variety show. And yes, I'm a director for myself, corporate branding. Many of you knows me very well. Yes, I think we haven't been together for a very long time since the last time we attended the training. So it's going to be a very interesting one going forward this time.
Beautiful. Thanks, Maynard. I have somebody called Techno K15K. I can't tell the name. Who are we having there? With the letter M. I just welcome you, but I can't identify who you are. Okay, thanks, Maynard. Let's carry on, colleagues.
Good evening, colleagues. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. I'm Emmanuel Njang from Botswana. I'm into consulting and coaching business. That is why I'm so connected to the Cometa network. I think we share the same business lines. That's why I am here tonight. I'm glad to be meeting each and every one of you here in person and in this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good to see you. Rabula, I see you joined twice. I've accepted you twice, it's fine.
All right. Can you now pick me up now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I was just leaving the cell phone because the battery is flat. So I'm now on a laptop. So hopefully now it might be much more better now.
Sure.
Yes. I thought I'll be the last one because I was traveling. My brains are still tired. And I had the hectic day today. So, but now here I am. My name is Rapula Mudibani. I'm into a consulting space where I'm doing mentoring and coaching, and I'm also doing business advisory and facilitation too. Those are the areas which you find me strongly involved on it. And I'm based in Bujana district in the Northwest space. So Northwest is a rural town, rural area, but not so rural like some towns in a place of Emmanuel, but in the same space, but we're on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you. And I must say, Rapula, I'm very much inspired by your efforts and initiatives. I watch your posting almost every time, and it's quite impressive. I know it will bear results.
They said small steps may build some big mansions. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed,
Okay.
indeed. It's really great. One day, I'm sure you will invite us to come and be with you. And good luck with your upcoming expo or exhibition. Is it exhibition or
it's more like a conference, but very close to an exhibition, because there are some big and small entrepreneurs who are exhibiting their products, and they'll be every now and then having a panels having a different discussions. I'll just look at the calendar now, or a program. I'm appearing on 28 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. So let's see. It's 9 to 10. Let's see. In the entrepreneur space. So I was thinking along the lines of which area do I pitch in, and by luck, I had engagement with Ntatemo Happy, the old man in the economic space. So we shared in terms of where he's pitching and where I'm pitching. So we're not going to pitch it the same way. So I'm happy around those lines, but it's more like complementary in the space where he's pitching and where I'm going to pitch. My line of entry, I think, is more along saying you have entrepreneurs, but in many instances, entrepreneurs they are focused on their products. And South Africa, when you come to business side, it's got a lot of compliance, and the entrepreneurs are not in compliance space. So how do you nurture them in mentoring and coaching them along the lines of mentoring or along the lines of incubations? And how do we explore the ESDs to make sure that that area it's well looked after, so as to make sure that job creation is sustainable? Because without those small and growing businesses, I call them SGP. So we don't have economy, we don't have future of this economy, we don't have future of this country. So one person was saying to me, why do you call it SGP? He said, we keep on saying SMMEs. Those guys will stuck to that for the rest of their life. But when you call them small and growing business, they'll start rethinking differently. That's my approach. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Thank you for that insight. So we call them SGBs.
One will say SGB is school governing bodies, though. It's small and growing business. If you listen to the guys in a continent and listen to them very, very careful, in the African continent, they don't call them small, macro, and micro entrepreneurs, though. They call it small and growing businesses. And a simple analogy around that is the guy starts small, he needs to grow and become a business. So once you put them in a basket of saying it's micro, from micro it's going to be macro or medium, it's not going to go anywhere else. So you small that you put that person in a basket. Some people move from small into a conglomerate. So why do you limit the growth and put it into a basket of saying it's become a medium business? No, let the guys go. Can we behave like Kenyans, where everything is in entrepreneurs? It's not rigid in terms of regulations. We are too regulated and regulated small entrepreneurs. And in many instances, even if the guys got a very good initiative, good ideas, but our regulations actually inhibit the growth of small and growing businesses. So I'm not saying change regulations. I'm saying, can we make it much more better?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Emmanuel, you have a speaker for your next conference in Gaborone.
I can hear him. He's definitely to be part of us.
Sam, not in Gaborone, in Kasane.
Okay, in Kasane.
Okay. That's where the tourism is, in Kasane.
So you want us to do it in the heart of Kasane?
Yeah, it's easier to lower the entrepreneurs or a small and growing business from Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe and put them in Kasane.
Wow. So it's geographically strategic, right?
Yes.
That's a strategic move now.
Okay, good stuff. Lesego, few words for the colleagues.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lesego Pachani. I'm currently doing my CTA at UJ. It's nice to meet you all and looking forward to this session. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time from your studies to join with us. You are building the bridge from the academic into the world of entrepreneurship. So that's great. Yeah, thank you so much. I think the context has been laid. I'm making a roll call because it's very important for us to know who knows what that we have presented in these sessions. Because next time, at least we know we have covered certain units with you. So, as I indicated, tomorrow evening and every Tuesdays, we then do the practicals of these conversations whereby the subject matter experts take us through certain topics of the same program, but we drill deeper into it. And I hope we'll catch up. And next time we will be more or less at the same level with a difference of 1 week so that we can really use our own shows to see how good we are at applying the knowledge. So far, we have covered the conduct 1 up to conduct 7. And tomorrow we are going to do, unit 1 up to unit 7. Tomorrow we will do in unit 8. And then you will discuss it in the next Monday. We have also overlaid these units with the modules from Business Academy. So that is to say that if you are to deepen the particular conduct of this program with theory, we know exactly which Business Academy course we will use. Let's say if you are to take people through any of this conduct and you want to align it with a theory of business management or professional development, we will know and you will know which business academy course we must go for and what modules we will make available to you to facilitate that engagement with whoever is interested in the business of streaming. We call it a business, we call it a sector. And Maynard will tell you we have done a bit of research and we keep on researching. This is a big industry, but one must want to be in it. It's a very tricky industry. It needs a lot of integrated competencies. But if you don't get assisted, you may walk away from it thinking that is quite very complex, but it's not. And that's why we have so many people that are participating in the streaming. I mean, I can give you practical examples in South Africa. I mean, one of the famous one is called BizNet, that is run by Alec Hawk. I mean, it's almost giving many business shows a run for the money. They even, as currently, they're running a conference in Hermanus where they're inviting political parties and subject matter experts to give perspective on the future of South Africa. And this is just a streaming platform. We've spoken about the Mbofu Boys streaming platform. Sizwe's platform is very famous. We know about DJ Suvu's platform, very famous. And you can talk about Robert Marawa when it comes to football. I'm just mentioning the obvious ones, but we're short of those who want to stream for business knowledge. And that's why we're very passionate about what we are doing, because we know that the content we have, it's not about the content that we are worried about. I still want to check who the Techno K15K is. It looks like we left you out because I couldn't get your name. Who is that that hasn't introduced himself? Sorry for that. I forgot actually to give you the opportunity.
Hey guys,
Is that Gerard?
yeah, it's Gerald. Yeah, it's Gerald. I'm sorry to connect late. I've been struggling with the network. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Welcome, Gerald. Say a few words. Are you able to introduce yourself? That's Lesero's brother. But can you follow Gerald?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've been listening since I connected.
All right. Are you enjoying yourself? Would you want to say a few words? Who you are, what do you do? I think his connection is not that strong, but we are glad we know who is with us. Now, let me give you
Yeah.
the are you okay, Gerald?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just say hi to
Yeah.
colleagues and tell them who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I couldn't connect earlier, so but I managed to catch up with some of the guys while they are talking. So right now, I'm currently working with APP. So I'm a technician there. I'm doing testing, installation, and commissioning. So I'm looking forward to learning from you guys every day, and
Wonderful.
I've been doing it since we started here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to hear that you are still
Yeah.
busy there. Let's hope people like
Yeah.
yourself will grow the manufacturing sector because your skill is very needed.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sure. So let me just give you
Yeah.
a quick background to this. We see a great future in this sector, and that's why we are in this global streaming, commercial global streaming channels, and one of those being our radio online, and then of course this platform that we normally use for conversation, and of course our podcast, but more so the actual facilitation, whether you do it as a webinar or you do it as a Facebook or via Teams, Microsoft Teams, you still need some of this knowledge that we are going to be sharing. More and more people are requested to have competency in terms of how to conduct these platforms. And we believe that that knowledge is not just going to come on its own. It requires us to really be assisted with some insights, the do's and don'ts. We call them conducts. There are about 35 of them, and we overlay them with about 40 units. And up to so far, as I said, we have done up to 7 units. And today is just to launch and also to bring you up to speed in terms of what those units are covering. First one is Unit 1, which is about introduction and overview. And this introduction and overview unit, we overlaid with a course from our business academy, and that is a 12-module course titled Train the Trainer module, which is really in the human resources courses, where we say that we want you to be able to assist people with development of competence in the streaming. And for you to be able to do that, one of the courses we will want you to position is how to train people to become trainers. There is a science to that. So if you now know the whole entire course and you have also been exposed to that module, you should be able to offer it either as a webinar, as a radio show, or as a workshop face to face. And we spent some 1 hour with Maynard, Divesh, and Busete talking around that module. And if you go onto our website, comesa-goc.com, under Business Academy, there's a subsection called Streaming Mastery, where we talk about what is this series all about. So we dive into the digital era, take you through a comprehensive guide to the mastering of the art of live digital online streaming, podcasting, DJing across the board. And this innovative show that we are taking you through is designed to arm aspiring hosts, moderators, anchors, DJs with the essential skills and knowledge needed to shine in the digital realm. And Maynard, Rabula, and Tendani will tell you, uh, when we started this program in 2020, it sounded like it's a very easy thing. But the more you become aware of the do's and don'ts, the more you realize that actually there's a lot of people that are involved in the streaming who do a lot of basic mistakes. And we don't want those type of things to be taken for granted. It is really the things when you address, you can become an expert. I don't know whether I'm not going to ask Maynard because Maynard has been part of this last few weeks. But to you, Tendani and Rapula, will you agree with me that the more we did expose you to these do's and don'ts, the more it sounded very difficult and more complex?
Yeah, that's very true, Sam, because we, normally when you started, we thought this is just going to be, a walk in a park. What is there about just talking? And then you realize, no, it's not about talking only. You just don't flow. There's time management. There is so much to unpack. There is when to interject, when not to interject. How do you cover your time? How do you protect your show? So that it shouldn't be the person you're hosting, but you as the host, you're supposed to host the show. So it was just a lot of information that I think, and I still know that a lot of people are even streaming now, they don't know about.
Mm. Mm. You think everybody is enjoying what you are telling them, but there are those who can be listening and they are subject matter experts, and they will see through you without you realizing it.
I totally agree, because in most streamings that we are now seeing, it's you want to understand what is the topic about, but you're not really getting it because everybody, the host and the co-host and the guest, they are all over the show.
Mm.
So you're now reading things that you are not supposed to read in that in the conversation. You are supposed to understand what is the conversation about, but you're not really getting it.
Indeed. You feel very empowered, Rapula, once you know the do's and don'ts, and you are able to actually to avoid the don'ts and intentionally go for the do's.
Sam, you are right. One of the things which I did when I went into the hospital board, I had a young guy who was running a marketing, and he also had some, I would say the video, not a video streaming, but it's more like a streaming which he was doing specifically as a side business. And I start asking him not difficult questions, but growth path questions. I said, when you interview your prospective interviewer, what type of messages do you drive? Or you just go through interview, enjoy it, love it? He had a small studio in his own house. And he articulated to me, so I'm doing this for fun. I said, you can do this for business, not for fun. And I started engaging with him and assisting him in terms of how can he do it better. Right now, he has left the hospital and is running it on his own. So those are the dynamics in terms of saying, key to that, you must be born. I normally use the word born to do something else. Because one of the passions which I've identified right now is, and I keep on saying, maybe I shouldn't have been in the banking industry for a long time, because I'm not passionate about banking. I'm passionate about people. And I'm passionate about disseminating information, whether correct information, ideal information, especially for the entrepreneurs. So when you start sitting with the entrepreneurs and you find the person is passionate about what he's doing, he's losing business because of don'ts. And so that no, address these don'ts. Short term, it's a nightmare, but long term, you'll never regret it.
Think about that's a very good example, that Rapula that you are sharing with us. Honestly speaking, I see the streaming sector as a sector for young people to really grab it with both hands because of their affinity with technology, and the accessibility of the smartphones. Technology is galore. And I'm glad you are giving that example. And now that the young person has listened to you and is now made it his business, that's exactly the point. Emmanuel, in your coaching, I'm sure you come across the young people that don't realize that the same platforms that they are using to communicate messages about themselves it's like a highway that is available for them to drive their vehicle, whatever vehicle it is, and make money.
Very true, Coach Sam. It's where you say sometimes we sit on diamonds mine without even noticing that we are sitting in that Only until you are driven or you are exposed to some of these things, that's when you realize, wow, I've been sitting on myself here. So you can imagine what Mtaderapula was sharing with that guy in his studio. He was doing it for fun. He didn't see money coming in from what he was doing. So you see, you needed the right people now who see the potential in you. So sometimes I will sit down and say, what are the trends that we see in the industries that we serve into? Whether it's property, whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, speaking, there are those trends that we see. But you realize there's some of these things we've been doing them, but we don't see beyond the monetary aspect of it. So that's why I'm agreeing with this conversation, that sometimes you need somebody who just believes in you and see beyond where you can see. And that's how I think coaching has to be. And it comes into play sometimes, each and every time, indirectly or directly. It always comes into play.
Indeed. I know that the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is working very hard at the future of coaching. And we are all agreeing within the ICF that the future of coaching is technology. And then we say that the future of everything, every knowledge and content you have right now is technology. But this technology is the difference between you and somebody else is going to be how much you master it. And the streaming platforms, technology platforms, are exactly that. It's not just driving it, but also mastering it. So if you are studying, if you are Lesego, for instance, studying right now, you need to be interested in say, how do I distribute the accounting information and accounting knowledge to the whole world using the technology platforms? Do I know the do's and don'ts of actually streaming knowledge via the technology platforms, Maynard?
Yes, and that is I think indeed, like people that are still studying, like as we mentioned, this is more of those opportunities for them to look into these technologies and to grab it, run with it, and make it work for them. Let this technology work for them, because like streaming is one of those technology that is now is popping into, like if you look into radio, the traditional radio stations, they're no longer even effective other than people that are streaming. So we definitely need to look into this and know the do's and don'ts of the technology itself, so that we can make money out of it at the end of the day.
Indeed. Yeah. So since COVID, 80% of my coaching is done on streaming. I don't know about Emmanuel. How many people, and Rapula, how many people do you coach online these days? It's not even any more a surprise. It's almost like it's a given that we are going to go online, and if we are fortunate, we'll go face to face.
Sam, I think there's a combination.
Yes.
And I'll use the team which I'm doing in Ramotsirumilo. Some of them, you find elderly people there. They said, no, I'm not good for business. And I always use the following examples. I said, no, who started KFC? Then how old was that person? And it started ringing bells. It's never too late to start anything else. And I even raised the question of saying, don't be afraid of technology. You can take the next 10 years learning technology, but while making a progress in different spheres. So don't use technology as an excuse. And the second thing which I often raise in a coaching space around that, I'll use the following saying, you've got kids whom you've taken to different environment, utilize them to enhance you, to make sure that you move faster with technology. You don't have to screw yourself and say, no, I don't understand this, I can't do this. Let the kids can do it. They can do marketing for you. They can do what do you call it? TikTok for you. You can do it, but they can help you to do it. And you can put in link it for you. They can put it in all the spheres of advertisement for you while you are there. Don't hold things back because of your age. Age is just a number. It doesn't add value. It actually, if it's something to inherit you, I think you should be an entrepreneur. You should be sitting at home waiting for the grants coming in every month. And those grants are not helping you. So you're here because you want to be a standalone. You're not here because you are looking to enhance the grants. Grants will never be enhanced. So here,
Yeah.
make sure that you put concerted effort on your own, which you need to master yourself before you can master the next destination. Understand your environment. Once you understand it, the rest becomes much more easier.
Indeed.
Mm.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
So the other areas which you mentioned technology, which I shared with some of the peers around the corner, said one area I'm fearing of, yes, technology is taking advantage of us as technology is moving things very fast. But as a human being, you cannot always be in a technology. You need to speak to somebody else.
Of course. You're right.
So,
it's both. You need to balance the two worlds.
exactly. And I use the following scenario that our kids are more technotrads. They are mostly in the technology. You never know if there's a kid inside the house because in the technology, you speak with the person in technology, everything's on technology. But if the trouble kicks in, technology is not going to help him. Technology is not going to touch him or touch her and console her. The human being will do it. So I keep on saying one of the future career guys you can follow, especially when I speak to youth, is psychology. It's needed because you grew up in an environment, don't speak to people, and you might end up taking your life because technology can help you resolve your problems. You need somebody to touch you.
Well, there's coaching around stress management as a result of overflow of information or too much technology in the life of people. So it's every problem creates opportunities, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful. Let me take you through what we then, Maynard and I, and Divesh and Mbuse, so we then covered Unit 2, which is evolution of digital online radio and evolution of podcasting. And all the two of them are overlaid with a course we call digital citizenship. I'm sure you will love the modules in here. But anyway, let me ask Maynard to speak to those two units because we had fun here. We had to research. I don't expect you, Maynard, to remember every aspect of the two units. We felt that before we even go into the streaming, in particular here, we're talking about the radio. We needed to know the history of digital online radio and the history of podcasting. Man, did I learn, Maynard?
Yeah, it was one of those interesting research that we had to go through because looking at how young or small the podcast is, because it started recently, like in the recent years, around 2000 and something. So it's a new thing, but look at how it boomed out to be a big thing. It tells you that the technology is growing very fast. And we learned a lot through that modules, looking at how the technology evolved and how the traditional radio stations also now trying to move from their traditional way of doing things and tapping into the streaming and all those things. So it required a lot of research for us to gather all those things together to know like how those traditional radio stations are now doing, and now they're also now live streaming their shows and the soapies and all those things. So it was one of those interesting modules that we went through, and definitely if we were to look at the podcasting itself, it's a way to go, and it's definitely growing very big.
I mean, look at the growth of Netflix, what's called Netflix, Showmax. I mean, today everybody is clinging to Showmax because of Thabo Besta's movie or Trekking Thabo Besta. Not even a traditional television station got the idea that they needed to do that. But because of the availability of technology and avenues, today is a big thing. So think of that. I don't know, Tendani, if you have any comment to make. I mean, we were even saying what happened first? Was it the internet that led to internet radio, or is the radio that made internet people to think of delivering voice over internet, or things just happening? you know. So if you are going to go into the streaming, that history is going to be very helpful, and we have it recorded. You can listen to it. But yeah, your perspective there, Tendani.
I think it was mostly when we look at the internet streaming. I think what happened is the internet actually leads to streaming because of there were so many voices, but regulated by the broadcasters.
Yes.
So when internet happened, so it made things so easy that everybody can just voice out and speak about issues that if you have to take it to your normal broadcaster, you need to be questioned.
Yes.
So
And
that is why
you
then
need to know
internet was
somebody.
just available.
Yeah. But anyway, the two units 2 and 3, we wanted to embed ourselves in the sector itself, but more specifically, what happened? Who were the people who really decided to come up with? And when did it really break through? As Maynard was saying, it was fascinating how the forerunners, the pioneers who saw the opportunity as a result of declining costs in the technology really set the pace. People like Steve Jobs, who introduced the idea of subscribing to a podcast by building the concept into the iTunes interface. And then from there, podcasting was never the same. And today, almost now, people are no longer saying, do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a LinkedIn page? They say, do you have a podcast? It's almost like a given. And what is interesting now for young people, Lesego and Gerald, now there's a big talk that very soon, one of the common addresses of companies is going to be a company podcast. And guess who is going to be running this podcast? People like ourselves that we are training ourselves, because not everybody will just step in and come and run a podcast of Vodacom. There are the opportunities. Or they will hire you to come and run it as your business. So that was really what we took from the 2 modules. Then the 4th module is very interesting, because then we started talking about streaming itself as an offer. And for me, this was the most fascinating unit, because we are now saying, okay, Maynard, Divesh, Mbuset, why must we want people to go into streaming? What is in it for them? Hey, man, when we started, I remember Divesh saying, let's look at the value of the market. Yeah, the numbers. I'm looking through my notes, Maynard. I'm still looking for some of the figures. I've written them down here. And yet those are still smaller figures vis-a-vis the projection into 2030. How much money worldwide will the sector be worth in dollar terms? I don't know whether you still have that figure, those figures. But we wanted to justify. I mean, for instance, the podcasting industry is expected to be a 94.88 billion US dollar industry by 2028. I mean, that's a lot of money. Billions, we're not talking millions. And to think of the fact that it's so much money, and yet there are no barriers to entry, Emmanuel. All what you need is you need to have your smartphone, you need a good microphone, and you need a platform that you subscribe to. And then within 5 minutes, you can launch Emmanuel TV.
Very true. The market is still very open. The industry on its own is very open to everyone here. It may not be us, but just everyone. But the right people, I mean, the real people who are going to make money or real money out of these industries, they are the ones who are willing to learn through the ropes of how to do it. Because it doesn't mean if everyone can do something. I think that's the problem that we are seeing even today. You see, we absorb information, we take things quickly, but we only to realize that we adopted all those things prematurely. Sometimes when the industry is open like this, like you always say, the coaching business or the coaching industry is a very a big industry that serves a big market. And sometimes because of its unregulated, I mean, it's not regulated sometimes. Everyone starts to call them. There's that we have. That's why you would agree with me. There are a lot of many mushrooming podcasts that we see today. When you look at the content that is being discussed there, people, they're going there to discuss people.
Yeah.
We don't see, I think that's one thing that we...
based on the progressive content.
It's not based on the progressive. Just to go there and bash Emmanuel and say, no, this guy is this guy. And that's the thing. I think if you are not careful enough, again, I want to agree again with the point that that Rapula made, that technology is here to stay. Sometimes all you need is to, how do you take it? Do you take the good from it? But it's more like now we are spearheading, or the way the current guys who are leading all these, they are more into the negative side of it. And you can imagine the generation that is going to come after, and where they will grow thinking that this is how the podcasting business has to be. If I'm not going to talk about Sam, I want to have likes, I want to have followers, it's the wrong things that we want to do things. So sometimes I always say, guys, before we tap into an opportunity, in as much as how big it is or how good it may be, sometimes let's look at the context. Why do you want to do it? If you don't have the real good or the real reason why you have to do that, go back to platforms like Cometa, go learn about all these and sit down with people who have done it and understand how and why are they doing that. And I think that's how we mold a generation of, podcasters or podcasts that are going to be generating money. So we need to be able, I think, in the next conversations, 10 years from now or 20 years from now, the question is, how many podcasts that we see in Africa or in Botswana, in South Africa, are we seeing that are very productive?
Yeah.
That's a question that we need to be asking.
You touched on a very important point there, Emmanuel, because Unit 5, which we also had, is titled Content Creation. So I like what you just raised. So it's the platform, and then the knowledge of how this platform works, the do's and don'ts. And thirdly, you have to have a content that is of substance. For instance, as coaches or as tutors, as lecturers, as advisors, that is a content already. So you already have that content, that subject matter expertise, but you blend it with the knowledge of operating the platform, knowing the do's and don'ts. That is what is going to actually determine which of the streamers are going to be here 10 years to come. Am I hearing you saying that?
Definitely, you're right.
And this is what we are trying to highlight. It's almost like how the social media started. These people don't realize that social media it's now, that's why people talk about social media marketing. And yet when it started, it was just for people to connect and talk. And the same thing with podcasting. 10 years from now, it will no longer be a nice to have, and people will no longer be surprised when somebody is having a content, but they are going to be say, what is your streaming about? Are you lecturing? Are you informing? Are you debating, creating? What is the content? Thank you for raising that, Emmanuel. I think that is really the point. Why is the streaming as an offer, as an industry growing so fast? It's because slowly we are starting to have more streamers that are generating content that creates value. So that was Unit 5, and we overlaid it with knowledge management course from the Business Academy. And then streaming as an offer, we overlaid it with a course called Creating a Great Webinar. Because if you are offering a conference online, we call it a webinar, and I think that is a common knowledge, right? But at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
Yes, it's a common knowledge. You're right. And you can also do it on Teams, depending on the package you have. But it is ordinary.
So the do's and don'ts and the dynamics of it are the same. if you are an MC of a
Yes.
webinar, if you are an MC of a webinar, you are as good as an MC of a face-to-face event. The do's and don'ts might be different. But if you have that knowledge of conducting a webinar, you can actually chair many global online seminars called webinars being based here.
Yes.
Because the MCs for webinars are in demand.
Yes, you are right.
And that's an enterprise.
Yes, it is an enterprise.
Yeah. I'm mindful that we have gone over time, but I'm left now with few points here. Unit 6, that's where now we started with the conducts. We handled conduct 1, which was self-introduction. And last week we handled Unit 7, conduct 2, which was about introducing co-hosts. I'm going to stop here and ask Tendani and Rapula to reflect on your own shows where you had to, I mean, can you imagine, you had to rehearse how you're going to introduce yourself. We really, when we looked at it, it became such a rich content, and yet it looks like what is so special about introducing myself as a host of an online show? What is so special about introducing a co-host? But when we look into the planning of it, and you realize that it's a book on its own, it's a chapter. And that's why in our program, we overlaid those two with personal branding. Because when you introduce yourself, you are actually positioning yourself. We are assumed that you know who you are, how you're going to introduce yourself, what you want people to know about yourself. Can you reflect on that, Tendani and Rapula, during the time when you were running your own shows, how extra you had to go to prepare yourself to introduce yourself and to introduce your co-host, Tendani?
Sam, let me start by first introducing myself. I never thought before the whole training, I never thought introducing myself was so important. Reason being that, I will just give my name and my surname and what I do. But I never knew that I must go into detail, because you're basically not sure who's in the room or who's listening actually to the podcast at that time. Because if you leave some details that are probably going to link you to your let's call it a destiny helper in terms of in your business, and you just run a very short introduction, hello, my name is Tendani, and then you end there, yes, I'm entrepreneur, and then entrepreneur, what is that? So that was just the biggest thing for me, because then it opened up, the way I look at myself. I realized that when you are a brand, you really need to introduce that brand. You cannot go shortcut to it. And which actually really helped, because now people get to know who are we talking to, who are we listening to. And when it comes to now, when the show was running and you have to now introduce your co-host, well, it was a big challenge for me, because you now have to learn to share. What are you going to talk about? You have to now to rehearse before the show, because remember, we are giving out a business content, not just a chit chat kind of thing. So you really need to know what are you talking about and why are you bringing it out to the nation? What are you bringing out to the world? So that part of introduction also taught me that you get to learn or to integrate whatever the other person has, have it in you. Have it in you, and make sure that they have what you have in you, so that you run your show in an aligned way.
So you are forced to have a briefing with your co-host or your guest a day or two before the actual show, because you can't appear together with your co-host in a show and you appear like you are meeting each other for the first time.
That is so true, Sam. That is so true. There is no way you can run a show without a meeting, or without, even if it's a webinar or a phone call, a lengthy understanding. Remember, when you are hosting a show, those who are listening, they need to know why they're listening. They need to get the points. So if you don't get to talk to your co-host or to talk to your guest, you will miss the point. You will lose time just talking about things that people don't want to hear, and you are missing things that you are supposed to be telling people.
Wow. Let's welcome Sylvia Mulibali. Welcome. Is your load shedding done? Sylvia? Great. I'm sure
Can you
still...
hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Welcome to the conversation. You found us in the
Yes.
middle towards the end, but I hope you're enjoying the inputs from the colleagues.
No, I do. I just thought that it's better late than never. So
Yeah.
yes. So yes, thank you.
We'll give time to introduce yourself. Let me, Rabula and Rabula, what was your experience in terms of preparing yourself for, just to introduce yourself for the show? What did you look at?
Do you know, Sam, sometimes when you look back, I use the word wisdom. Wisdom plays a critical role. Any small little things you do, they add massive value to the future worth it. One of the areas which I'm not a trained facilitator, but if you find me facilitating a strategic workshop, you might think that this is a professional facilitator. And that comes specifically from the preparation of the speakers, or when you start hosting the shows and having a conversation in terms of saying, relax, this is your show. You're going to talk yourself. I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is not a radio where, our normal radio stations, public stations, where you go out for interview, not going to be grilled. No, this is a information sharing environment. It's not going to grill you. You need to portray yourself. I'll help you to lead you to make sure that you put what you need to put in for the audience to listen and hear it. That's how that kicks in. And I realized that I facilitated about about 5 different strategic sessions of different institutions. And towards the end, when I'm doing my own reflection, I realized, oh gosh, this is something else which I never thought I'd do it without even interfering with somebody else thinking, but pursuing that person to say what he needs to say, and even ask him, is that what you mean you want to say? So you take the ways. I'm actually asking the person, is that what you mean you want to say? And if the answer is yes, let's put it in a way that you can understand it, not me, but you and understand it. Because this is your document. I'm only here to facilitate it. I'm not here to take it over.
So you have the conducts, do's and don'ts at the back of your mind. They serve you at the time you didn't even expect them to serve you.
Exactly. So those are the dynamics. So say, when you started it, you don't know what impact it's doing on you as a person. But later on, when you start practicing it, there's things like, do you know, when you have people at the table. So you never think this is having an impact, but when you start practicing it, you realize this is massive impact in terms of making people to relax and opening up and talking about what they're going to do in the next 5 years, next 3 years. But those are dynamics which you don't know it when you do it, but once you start practicing on your own, you realize, oh, okay, this is a base. I've got a base of this.
So there's an inner transformation that has happened without you noticing it, because of you now know that you have to open the space. It's not your space as a host. It is the guest or the speaker, the presenter's space. You, as you're holding that space for the speaker to become the best they could be.
Exactly.
Maynard, we're talking about how simple it may look, having to prepare how to position yourself as a host and your co-host. And I know the other conducts is about, in the next one we're going to do next week, and the week after next is going to be presenting your guest. And Tendani was sharing with us that people don't see amount of work you have to do, just planning how am I going to introduce you as my co-host or as my guest. How has been the experience for you, and how is that helping you today in your engagement?
Oh yes, thanks, Aristam. In the whole thing, I can say preparation is a key for everything. You cannot go on the show unprepared, because even if you have to introduce somebody that you might think you're not a person, but you still need to prepare on how you're going to introduce that particular person. So I think preparing yourself in terms of knowing the person's biography in details, it helps so that you can easily introduce the guest or your co-host in a proper way. So preparation in everything is a key. Like when you do the whole show, you need to prepare in time, have a proper planning so that you know how you introduce your colleague as well.
So we say you take yourself serious and not take things for granted.
You can't take things for
Yeah, I know you are having a load shedding, so we're battling to hear you now, but we got your input. Yeah, let me welcome Maynard. We're losing you there. I'm gonna mute you for now.
There's no corrections once we are on air now. So he
Oh,
definitely yes. No.
yeah, you are back now. We lost you there. Okay, Sylvia, you are one of our show hosts without having undergone what my colleagues here have gone through in the 2020s. But you have experienced the rigor of having to prepare you for the VUT program. In terms of introductions and introducing your guest and the co-host, how has been your experience?
No, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Maybe introduce yourself, yes, as well.
Okay. Okay. My apologies for coming in very late. I did have load shedding, and my family is at the jubilant mode of the load shedding that just gone. Let me just move away from them a bit. Yes, my name is Sylvia Mamurare. I am a member of the Cometa group, and I am an independent consultant, basically more onto the human capital consulting business. And yes, I am the president of the IPM. So I am actually spending most of my time now in the coaching field. So yes, I had an opportunity, and thank you to Coach Zimmer, to being on the VUT broadcast. And yes, I think when I was called in, I was fortunate to the fact that I had an opportunity to listen to the previous broadcasting or the live shows that I've attended. So I had an opportunity to kind of have a feel in terms of how they go. But yes, obviously, when I was asked to be the co-host or to be the anchor for it, it just became something totally different, because it's always nice. You are more in the relaxed mood, and when you are just a listener or just a participator, and because the people that goes or that are anchoring the show, you listen to them, and everything seems to be going at ease. They feel so natural, they communicate well with the person that they are interviewing and all that. And that actually just gives you confidence. And I thought it was easy. until such time when I had to do it myself. Then I realized that it's actually a different platform, and it's a different a feeling as well, a different experience. So my approach to it was, obviously I had a lot to prepare, and I had people talking about planning and preparing is a key to all of it. And I agree fully, because with me, what I then did is I made time. First, I actually wrote down, in my planning, I just wrote down what was coming in my mind on how and what I wanted to say. And, I literally did a bit of a practice. It's like I recorded myself on the phone while reading what I have written, just so that I could hear my voice, how it's projecting. Then I could hear that at one stage I was like surprised, and I listened to this voice and I was going, was that me? It sounds a little bit more different and all that. And then out of that, I kind of knew exactly what ways I say that come out well, and, which of the ways and what am I repeating. And, of course, as Ntatetsima say, I've been a bit on the platform, coming from a corporate world of 32 years experience, and being more on the training and development, and then being on the executive level, doing presentation, traveling, and meeting different countries with different languages. So obviously, some of that experience and having been and done that helped me a bit. But that didn't take away the butterflies of me having to anchor, for the first time. And that's why I kind of agree fully with the issue of planning, because I still had to sit down and plan much more seriously. And as I said, did all that. And then what I also did was I then requested to know the person that I was going to interview. Of course, I requested his contacts, and I contacted him before time, and I kind of spoke to him and introduced myself to him, and I made him aware that I am the one that will be anchoring the show while he's going to present. And I think in my conversation with him, first, I told him that I'm just the anchor. He is the most important person for that show, because I said to him, remember, it's your platform. What is the substantive matter of the topic of the day? It's coming from him, not me. I am just going to facilitate the process. He is going to give the people, the listeners, the core message and the reason of the existence of that particular show at that time. So I think with that, I kind of put him at ease, because he kind of was seeing me as being above him just because I'm an anchor. And, I then said to him, no, you are the one that's more important. I'm just going to be helping you to be able to say what you want to say to the people. I will try to give it more of the volume and the importance and the significance of what you are saying, the way that is going to come out, and I will listen, And then the second thing that I did with him as well was I also asked him to tell me a bit of what he's going to talk about, so that I also have an idea of what is it that he's going to be telling the people. And, and that made me even much more comfortable, because I was also learning new things, as he was saying, I mean, it was a new approach of what VUT was doing at the time. So I started asking him questions myself. And, and I listened to how he answered the question and everything. And then I also then said to him, you won't believe I made this call just to introduce myself and introduce you to me. But instead, I am now learning. So it immediately gave him the confidence. So we kind of had what can say an informal chat before we could even go there. So I then also gave him a bit of an a tip in terms of these are the questions I'm going to ask you. The reason why I'm asking this question is because I want you to say this. And then I told him I will add this particular question. It was not on my list, but after you have taught me or educated me a bit, I'm going to add this 1 or 2 questions because I think you are elaborating it much better. You know, so by the time we went on air, we had met before, you know, we had chat before. So when I introduced him, it was much more easier, you know, and I knew what he was comfortable with, whether using a prefix before his name or just going straight to his name or saying his name in full or, you know, shortening it and all those other stuff. So, you know, when one was saying them on air, I knew that he was comfortable kind of with it, although I still requested for that permission, you know, when we were saying it. So, yeah, so I really enjoyed the session, but I think the most key of it was what went on before we actually went on air. You know, that planning, that preparation, that meeting the person before, it gives a whole lot of a very good prep, and it made the session to be more effective.
The beautiful takeaway from your story, Sylvia, and everybody else's input is that nothing is magical.
Yes.
You know, and if you know what happens behind the scenes before you show up to the public, you are sorted, you are ready to do it. And I think we need to make it clear to our people in general that nothing is magical. Anybody can do it as long as you have as long as you have a support and you have a structure and you work hard. You know,
Yes.
that's the whole idea. That's why Tendani was saying introducing yourself or introducing your co-host is an issue of branding. That's why we overlay with personal branding. You need to know what about you that you want people to know that might interest the people, or your co-host to be known that will represent them well. And that's why these 35 conducts, it's really massive. And I mean, as you can tell, Tendani, Maynard, and Rapula, they are the graduates of them in 2020, and we are revisiting them, and we still realize that there's still more to be done. But we can grow so many of our people, especially those who want to go into streaming as an enterprise, so that they don't go there blindly and thinking that people just become great. There's a lot of learning to be done. And we are here to support, and we are here to support that mission. Thank you so much, Sylvia. I'm glad you are part of this series because you learn to drive first before you learn the learners.
That's true.
Sam. Yeah. Sam, I was listening to Mama Rare, and it reminds me of the project I hosted of City of Johannesburg when they were doing Investors Roadshow. I recall in a briefing in the morning, the municipal manager and a CFO, an executive mayor, and MMC of finance. They were asking me, "Are you going to ask us difficult questions?" I said, "Guys, this is your show. I'm just a driver. You tell the investors what you want to do with the city and how you're going to take the city to the next level." Can you believe? After the session, they came back to me and said, "You are a different broadcaster or facilitator." I said, "No, the difference is one. I'm not here to come and show you your weaknesses. I'm here to come and help you to sell the city of Johannesburg. That's my role."
Exactly.
And the advantage we have is that I do have a banking background. So I'm going to direct, especially even said to the CFO, I'm going to direct you to the CFO what the banking industry wants to know. And these are the questions which I'm going to help you need to explore it and clarify on that. If you said something and it's not which I know that's what they're looking for, and I'll help you in terms of clarify this, the CFO, clarify this, the executive mayor. Then you must know you're speaking to investors. You're not speaking to the residents. Here, it's not the resident conversation. It's your city selling to the investors. What are you going to do for the residents? And what do you ask the investors to come and do for you? That's how you should portray the message. Not me come and tell you that ratepayers don't pay. There's a pothole there. No, it's not my role. That is a different role in that space.
Rabula, can I share with you my observations?
Yes.
My observation. You know, there's an advantage of having been a facilitator of the previous show. And in fact, for all of you, you are so well polished in the way you bring your statements across. And I know that there's nothing magical about it, and that is you have confidence that you have built over all these months since you've been made aware of the do's and don'ts. As you are speaking right now, I remember vividly, very much at the beginning, how I'm sure even your masters of your throws, your what do you call your vocal cords used to be very strange, but today I can hear you are flowing. I don't know what to yourself.
I think it's more. There's two things there. It's an exposure and practice. That's all I could say.
True.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we can talk the whole evening, but I'm so glad that, and this is what we are trying to do week in, week out. We can't stop getting better, and I think we're seeing the benefit of it. I'm going to allow each one of you to check out because we really stretched it so far, and I'm glad we could welcome Sylvia in because I'm really valuing and appreciating the practical experience she shared with us, and also her listening to you, being the graduates of the 14 months program. And now this one is no longer about, you are not learners, we say train the trainer. Basically, we're applying now how we are going to take this knowledge to other people. It's a different type of course. Some people may make mistake to think that is the one we did in 2020. Here we are saying now we want you now to be able to take this knowledge to other people.
Exactly.
Basically, that's the objective. So if you can just check out with us 2 points, what has been your aha moment in this conversation, and what are you taking home with those two? Anyone can jump in and check out for us. Aha moment and take home from this conversation. Just a second.
Thank you, Sam. I think my aha moment for me is that for you to decide to bring up, this training, the trainee, because for me, when we were doing the initial training, it was all about just knowledge that I'm learning for myself, never thinking that this could be one day me going to share the knowledge with somebody else. So I think the session for me, starting from today and the weeks coming, it will be something that I look forward to every 7 o'clock. It's a date for me every Monday. What I'm going to take home is I've just now realized as we're having conversation that when we were doing the training, there is the speech buildup, in terms of conversation. On when you converse, you have a conversation on a face-to-face and on a radio. It's different in the sense that you are more relaxed talking to someone, so you don't pick your words. Yes, you do pick your words, but the way you have to align it online, it's completely different. So that has just come back to me to say, remember, the conversation that you have to create, the way you have to build up the conversation. So I think, I'm really going to have to look into that because it's quite important, I think, for everyone as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're back now to take it to the next level, Tendani. Thank you so much for checking out. Next.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you.
All right, colleagues, I hope my network won't disappoint. But for me, my takeaway is what Mema Morari just said now, that when she had to prepare or practice, she went as far as recording herself. That to me is actually extreme, and I think it's actually very funny, but actually very important. and at the same time, I think, yes, you have to record yourself and listen to yourself thereafter. It will give you a gist of how you actually speak online. But yeah, to me, it was very interesting to take away with.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Minat.
Yeah.
Sam, I think from my side was maybe I'm used to use the word of sharing. You know, when you share the wisdom, and that wisdom will bear the fruits, and the fruits of it is to make sure as South Africans we don't leave behind. We are conduit in the growing of this country. For me, it's more purposeful around it. What I've learned today is my sort of an aha moment. Is remind me of the shows which I did before. What level of pitching was there, and how the pitching did help or did add value to the other spheres. That's all I could just make around here. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. I must say, I haven't had a session with you for a very, very long time, Rapula. It's melodious for me to listen to you talking. I'm like, sure. It's so beautiful, you know, because I knew all the time that you have so much knowledge, so much content, so many years in banking, and now it's like it's flowing, and you are so relaxed and it's so impactful. Yeah.
No, but for now, one thing which I'll take forward home is I'm waiting for Emmanuel for that conference in Kasani. If Kasani fails, person can still be in Francistown, not Gaborone. Gaborone is over congested, overpopulated. When it's raining,
Emmanuel has been listening
there's
to
no
you.
roads in
and
Gaborone. We don't want to go Gaborone.
He is convinced that you are one of the speakers already.
No.
Emmanuel?
We need to go to Francistown on Kasani, not Gaborone. Gaborone is
I hear you.
Thank you.
Brother Emmanuel?
Thank you so much, Ndadarapula. I must say we need to co-create this together now. I'm seeing something great coming out of here. Let's co-create here. I think we're going to take the conversation further from here. Then let's do Kasani.
Yeah.
I'm ready. We are ready. The side. Then it shows you are also ready for this. Kasani. Let's do it for Kasani. And
you already have all of us here available. If we have to hire a Kumbi, we have got in Dadara Mutla. You can give us a 16-seater. We come to Kasani.
Definitely.
There's an offer on the table. We will take it.
Yeah.
Let's co-create this event. Let's co-create it and
you are
see.
checking out Emmanuel?
All right. That was a wonderful evening. I think I thought I had a very busy day on site, but now I'm relaxed from the conversation that I had here. And you can imagine having time with colleagues who are in the same path of making change somewhere somehow. But my key takeaway from this is the aspect of preparation. You can't go anywhere great. I mean, you can't achieve anything great without doing any preparation. Anything great that we see today is the result of preparation. So that's my key takeaway from some of the, I think Metendani, she mentioned it more often when she was preparing for her presentations and other stuff. And, taking it again, a lesson from that day, Rapula, the wisdom part, every small thing matters. No matter how you do it, if you do it wholeheartedly, it results in something big. The results are always big. You may not see the impact that it has, but they're really, really great. And that's one thing that I've picked. And, the other thing is the aspect of technology. We are using technology 24/7, but we don't see we don't capitalize or monetize it. Sometimes our talents, our, capabilities go unnoticed because we don't want to utilize what we have. So I think the advantage that we have right now, you and I, is the technology. That's a takeaway from me. And, that's really one thing that I picked. And also the aspect of branding and positioning, very key. As whether you are a coach, a speaker, facilitator, a co-host or host, it's very key. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I picked. 2 or 3 things that I picked from this, and otherwise it was a wisdom-packed session that I had here. Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to your participation on a subsequent Mondays, my brother.
Oh, thank you. Definitely. I told you that this year I'm here.
It's Lesego, I'm sure we can release you to go back to your books now.
Oh yeah. One thing that I've taken from this session, it's on the point of self-introduction. I've learned that it's something that can benefit you as a speaker and as well as the listeners and the hosts, in a way that, like, for you as the speaker, it gives you like a moment to self-introspect if you don't know who you are. Because I think it's difficult, or let me say, it's not every day where you will sit and be like, okay, who am I? What do I attach to my name? So it gives you that opportunity to sit down and be like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I want people to know about me. Also the point of like branding. It's a branding kind of thing. So I feel like we all have like a branding, but we just don't know what's our brand. But this self-introduction thing, it gives you that opportunity to showcase your brand as a person. But then for the speakers as well and the hosts, it gives them like sort of like something to look forward to, because if you then introduce yourself as like an entrepreneur, someone's gonna be interested in knowing that what kind of entrepreneur are you? Is your business going well? Is your business not going well? And why are you so proud of it not going well or going well? So I love that. I think I'm just gonna take
It's
it.
the opportunity.
I can say I didn't take it seriously before, but now I can see that it's a big thing. It's a really big thing.
It's big.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Lesego. I'm glad you attended. Gerald.
Mopsan.
Yeah. What are you taking home from the conversation and your aha moment? You are muted.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello? You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been listening to the comments and the motivations. So from what I've learned, I've been lacking confidence in terms of talking and in terms of knowing on. I think checking very well and knowing who I am. Thank you.
Beautiful. I hope you're gonna work on it now, so that you go for it whenever you are given a space to sneak in who you are.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Lovely. So Sylvia, you're the last one to check out.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think yeah. Mujamara. No, but yeah, I think from my side, yes, as I said right from the beginning, just apologies for joining so late. I was very saddened by the sudden load shedding thing. You know, you listen to the schedule and you get to be told there's no load shedding today, and then you hear it's only starting at 4, and then next thing you are the very first culprit, to be knocked off at that particular time. So it was just a bit sad that I had planned that I will join, and I was looking forward to the session. And listening to the conversations, I can hear that I missed a lot. There's a lot of learning lessons that I should be taking home that seem like I have lost. But I've always been a very astound listener of the podcast as well. So I've always been gaining from them. I take them very seriously. I make time to listen to them. And Coach Tima, I'm not sure about this one, but if it is going to be there as well, I will appreciate it, because
Yeah,
I can see
it
that
will
there
be
has
there.
been there has been very, very good take home and lessons that one can pick from here. But yes, I think from my side, just a bit of what I have heard, and I agree fully with the speakers. Most importantly for me, and I've shared it in terms of the planning. For me, the planning is serious, and I think we're talking here today, train the trainer. You are going to be trainers, or we are trainers, and then we're going to be training the people that are going to be training other people. So, the most important thing that one needs to actually take into consideration, and I've heard many people mention it. I'm sorry, I might miss a bit of the names. But yes, the issue of the branding, the personal brand is very important. And I have heard people touched it a lot on it. I might have missed all what is said about it. But I think at the end of the day, the branding, it's not only for a company. I think yourself and individual or personal branding is very important. And I think this is now the branding that you carry with you anytime or every time that you either stand in front or being in the podium or leading the people or whatever. Your brand is much crucial. And that's why one has to actually not feel very uncomfortable if you are to do something, even when you have planned it, even when you have prepared, and you still feel you have butterflies inside you. It's so important to actually acknowledge them, because for me, butterflies are a sign of the fact that you are serious, you are taking serious what you are about to do. We've been training, we've been on training, we've been on speakers, we've been doing that, and people might think, it's so easy, you just get up and do it. But the butterflies are still there. And for me, I'm seeing them as positive. And I want to say to people, take them as positive, because they are a sign of saying, whatever that you're going to do, you're not just taking it for granted, that I've done it before, I've been there and I've done it. So I am fine. You need to have them as a sign of just showing that. And that also puts you to the state of mind that says, I have to do it right. I've got to do it well. I've got to be good at doing it. And that's where the issue of the personal branding that is being talked about come into being as important and as effective as it should be. So for me, I would really want to thank all of you, whatever that I have missed, and I hope that next time I will be here on time. I have taken home in this few minutes that I've listened to. Sounds very interesting. And whatever planning that you're talking about Gaborone, that I haven't heard much about it, I am in. I would like to be there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about, but I would like to be there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Emmanuel will make it happen, but yeah, it's a long coming thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, great stuff. Thank you so much, colleagues. I'm glad we started this series. Just remember that next week, because it's an Easter weekend and Easter Monday, so we won't be having a show next week, Monday, but that Monday of the 8th, will definitely be back, and we'll be dealing with unit number 8, and that talks about introducing your guest. That's a great one. And there also, Sylvia, you have felt it, you have experienced it, but it's the most important part of the show. Even if you are not going to spend a long time talking about who the guest is, but knowing your guest, you as a host, as an anchor, makes you feel comfortable and make your guest also feel comfortable. So those are some of the hidden benefits of preparing, even though you might not have a time to do it in details. But your system knows when you know your person. So that's going to be the next one. Thank you so much. But tomorrow we are live on the radio. You can scrutinize Maynard, Busetse, and Divesh We are talking exactly the topic that you're going to talk about on the 8th. Tomorrow we are practically diving into the research a bit about it. How do you go about researching your guest so that you can introduce them well to your listeners and also know them well so that you know their perspective long in advance. So you become a team with your guest. That is the discussion tomorrow evening. Thank you so much, colleagues. I will prepare the podcast. You will have it available. It will be
Well,
under
thank you.
a title as a Train the Trainer first session.
Mm,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Coach Tima.
Thanks,
Thanks
Sam.
for this
Thanks.
opportunity.